football. I think from the standpoint of certainly you guys see the great vision, the great balance, the durability, the tough runs. But again, when you can play with a guy like that, spread him out, his natural pass catching ability, at times it feels like you're playing with an extra guy out there when you have a running back that can do those things. It's just crazy to think how young he is. Again, how much more room he has to grow. But him as the player, him as the person allows him to keep taking the next step.
But he's been around a while. His ability to make yards after catch, yards after contact. Where does he stack up in guys you've seen over your time coaching college football?
Yeah, super impressed. He reminds you of some of those NFL backs. I joke around sometimes. We had Devontae Freeman, I think, in 2017 in Atlanta, and at times you didn't question the toughness from that guy. It was almost like, hey man, you got to protect yourself a little bit more. But he's got that make you miss ability. We're fortunate to have had the backs we had at Washington when I was there, and he certainly can play with those guys for sure.
I want to just go back and watch some of those runs. Is there one that kind of sticks out to you that you had in there?
Yeah, I just thought that 4-minute run there at the end of the game, it just seems like, okay, it's a 2-3 yard run. You're like looking down at your game plan to figure out, hey, what's my third down call? And before you know it, the guy's pushing the pile and creating first down. Things like that are constantly happening where you think it's maybe a 3-4 yard play. He makes the guy miss, and you kind of hear the guys on the box erupting, and you almost got to shift your focus on, what's the next play call 30 yards down the field, if you will.
I know last week you were talking about kind of his, just where you wanted at in terms of snap count and stuff like that. But just in general, that the wear and tear he puts on his body and that workload and what he did. You want to keep feeding him as much as you can, but also how sustainable is that versus how much do you still need other guys and the passing attack and other parts of this offense to work to make this all work?
Yeah, we need it in a big way. I think what Reese's been able to do and go in there and provide quality reps has been critical, right? Every rep you take off of Genty right now is a critical rep. Certainly, we know we got to get done, right? We got to improve certainly throwing the football. I think we get that done. We take some pressure off Ashton. Now we're really playing at a high level. So, I think we're very aware of what needs to get done. We're also, it's a give or take, right? Because as you're pushing to improve those areas, these are tight games, and every call matters. And right now, you rely on the guy who's going to make plays in games like that on the road against a really quality opponent.
You look at a lot
of production that Ashton has given you, and take away that even the production EMAC has given you. You're left with less than 600 yards of offense through 4 games. Is there a number of reliable weapons that you'd like to have offensively, or?
Yeah, I think we got to keep developing. I think that's a tough one, right? It's almost like saying, hey, take away maybe Peyton Manning when you're in the heyday, or Marvin Harrison at the time. But I think, look, we got to continue to develop, and I think we got the players there. We got to continue to give them better chances. But again, I think certainly getting some of these guys back is going to be critical as well. Continuing to spread the ball out is going to be critical. We know what it is, and I think we can't be one-dimensional, and that's what we're looking to move forward.
Ashton obviously broke, 100 tackles or whatever, but some of the holes, it looked like he was running through the Red Sea at times. How impressed were you with the tight end setting the edges and then the physicality from the offensive line?
Yeah, I think I think Tim Keene and Nate Potter probably don't get enough credit. They have done a tremendous job. I go back to however you want to look at it, the rankings of the teams we've played. Those are 4 really, really good fronts. And I think you look at Washington and what that's going to look like when the NFL draft comes around with their edge players. You look at UCF. You look at North Dakota, how well they played. You look at San Diego State and what they've done stopping the run. They've done a tremendous job. It's a testament to their players. It's a testament to their physicality and their buy-in to everything this program's all about. And it's a huge strength of ours.
As you look at the film and break down this offensive line, why have they been so dominant and consistent?
I think the high-end guys that we've known about are playing to that level. I think Garrett has done a tremendous job. I think you know what Cade's going to do. When Ben Dooley was in there, but I think you really got to look at the other guys. I look at Cage Casey in that last game. versus a physical defensive line, what he displayed there. You look at Mason coming back off an injury. I mean, again, he was a guy that was thinking, okay, maybe he's going to get through 20 to 25 plays. You guys know how it is. And then you're like, the game's over. And you're like, man, that guy didn't just make it through the whole game. Like, he played at an extremely high level. What Ethan's done is his addition. So I think it's that depth, if you will. Again, you know what the veteran guys have provided. But the depth and those other guys coming along has been what's really impressive.
So did you think Mason was going to be on a snap count then? Did I hear that right? Or?
I mean, look, anytime a guy hasn't played, in a long time, you're hopeful that he goes the whole 68 plays. But I mean, it was certainly a thing like, hey, we're going to check in drive to drive, see how he's doing. And again, it's a testament to him and his toughness to go the distance.
Well, how impressed were you with him and just, kind of, especially with both Ben and Ethan out for that game? How important was it to get him back into the lineup?
It was huge. I mean, his athleticism, not just at this conference, but across the board. I mean, he's a guy who plays with unbelievable athleticism and physicality. And again, I mean, I just can't say enough about him. I can't say enough about the unit, their preparation, with as much rotation as there's been up front. It's like the next man has just stepped up. And, you look at a guy like Roger, a guy who maybe last year didn't get everything he wanted to get, but how he's playing. There's been 6 or 7 guys that have been playing at a really high level and been playing together at that position.
EMAC, we've seen him go up high point balls.
Yeah.
He's ran away from guys, but he had a couple pretty impressive, shorter catches that he turned into big gains.
Yeah.
What do you think of those specific plays, and how much, if he can do that, one-on-one, how much does that take his game to another level? I don't think the offense can handle it.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think certainly the ones I remember were those critical third down ones late in the game. One we were trying to double move down the field. It wasn't there down the ball. He spun out on a 3rd and 9. Again, making the catch on that slant. It was a cover 0 situation there late. Made a guy miss. Took that down to about the 5-yard line. So I think we say it every week with that guy, right? It's just like constant state of improvement. And again, he's got a high ceiling, and you guys know that with some of the great players that have been around this program. So you're absolutely right. It's his ability to run vertical, it's his ability to transition, run intermediate routes, and then now when the ball gets to him behind the line of scrimmage or within 2-3 yards, his ability to make people miss is making him a more complete player.
Boise State and Memphis have obviously never played in football, but Denton, Texas, where the Memphis QB is from, is only about 15 miles away from where Talon is from. I heard that they played in high school. Have you heard a little bit from Talon yet that they have a rivalry going on? Have you heard anything about this?
I don't know if they have a rivalry, but there's definitely a lot of mutual respect. I think every time we've watched a clip of him, he just throws it out there, Dallas, Texas, and so we've got a lot of respect for this quarterback as well. Just being regionally where I was, I mean, he's a guy who was freshman year, certainly accomplished a lot. He's got great toughness, and I mean, it's one of the many challenges. I mean, I know it feels like we're saying this every week, but you look at this defense we're getting ready to play. You look at this program. It's another really good unit, and sometimes maybe it sounds like that. It's a team with they've revamped their roster, if you will, right? They got an interior guy that played a lot for Oklahoma. They got a safety that was playing at Arkansas against us over the last course a couple years, and so this is going to be a tremendous challenge on all sides of the ball.
You were a freshman around the Liberty Bowl team in 04.
I was.
What do you remember about going there and Andy's interception return?
Yeah, I just remember. Gosh, I got to be honest. It was probably one of the best teams I ever remember playing. That Louisville team. If you guys remember, both the quarterbacks, offense, defense, special teams. But I think that's the biggest thing. I do remember that interception. I remember late in that game. Us, I think, throwing like a Hail Mary at the end to try to win it. But two really, really good football teams playing at a high level. So.
The last 2 games, a little slow start on offense before you guys responded. And you kind of brought up like the opening script and the execution. What do you want to see out of that, Bush, as you guys, go to that place?
Yeah, I think any time, you want to start fast for sure. You want to be able to, if you will, he's always talking about, we got a feel of how they're going to play us, what they're going to try to stop, and the sooner we can get to finding those answers, the better. Just because not only putting points on the board early, but I think it sets the tone for the whole team. From a confidence standpoint, when you can get in rhythm, when you can execute early, especially in third downs, and and create long drives, I think it sets the tone. So I think you see it week in and week out how important those openers are, and we got to do a better job of that.
Taylon was over 50% completion, but it seemed like there were a couple missed opportunities. How would you evaluate the passing attack after Friday?
Not where we want it to be. I think you probably know that with the question. We've got to continue, again, to find what are those throws, what are those plays he feels most comfortable with. Again, pass success is not a one-man job. We all know that as well, right? It starts from a protection standpoint. It goes to create separation. It goes to him developing as a good decision maker. And I think that's critical in his development. It's something we think he can certainly do, and we're excited to continue to move forward.
Andy was saying after the game, we're going to run the ball, or run first team, or something like that. Is that kind of where you see the identity shifting? Is just a ground and pound type thing, and hopefully that opens some things up in the passing game?
Yeah, I don't think you ever say, hey, this is exactly who we are.
Yeah.
Every game calls for different things, and again, I think when you're calling plays, you better be calling plays with a lot of factors. I probably say that a lot. Like how's their offense looking? How's their quarterback playing? How do we feel about our guy? Is he comfortable? How are we running the ball? It's, you guys know it. It's such a fine line. It's like, okay, you're throwing it too much, or you're running it too much. Are you getting this guy the ball, getting that guy the ball? It just comes down to every week, are we putting our team in position to win football games? And I think that's maybe the growth. That's probably the biggest thing I would say is we got to win football games, and every game's going to dictate different things. So.
Bush, when players maybe see things before they happen, I sense that with Ashton a little bit. Is that just natural ability, or can that be a developed skill with the running back?
Yeah, I think it's you probably see it in all positions. That you probably mentioned it, the instincts of playing the game, right? Like I sometimes laugh, like you guys obviously know all the stories of Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore was a guy that showed up here as a freshman at 18 years old, and he had already done a lot of those things 1,000 times before he even got here. It was like second nature to him, and I think it's a testament to Ashton and the amount of football he's played. I think vision can certainly improve over the course of your career, but as you know, some guys just have it, and they have it from thousands of reps, and especially when they do it at a young age, and that's everything he's been able to accomplish.
You touched on the tight end a little bit earlier, but just to specifically point out Riley Smith and Matt Louder, how hard did those guys play last game, and how much of a factor were they?
Yeah, they're kind of like the unsung heroes, if you will. I don't know how much we talk about it, but I know this: if they weren't healthy, if they weren't able to go, we would have big issues. And I think those guys provide a lot of flexibility. They're willing to do whatever it takes to again, be in the run game and maybe get limited opportunities in the pass game as of right now. And so those two guys are everything this program's all about. And from a toughness standpoint, some of the edges they've created, along with what the guys have done up front, have been tremendous.
Anything else?
Appreciate you guys.